Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network and iHeartRadio. Welcome to Hunting for Answers, a true crime podcast. I'm your host, Hunter. On a summer morning in North Carolina, investigators gather along the banks of the Cape Fear River. Boats move across the water. Drones take to the sky. Canine teams search the ground. Sonar equipment scans below the surface. The search is extensive, and it is happening nearly 5 years after a teenage girl disappeared. For her family, the questions have never gone away. And now, investigators are searching again. This is the story of Laniyah Whitted. Laniyah Danielle Whitted was 17 years old. She lived in Cumberland County, North Carolina. According to her family, Laniyah was surrounded by people who loved her, people who expected to see her again, people who never imagined that one day they would be searching for answers. But that's exactly what happened. Time moved on. For her family, some questions never did. One of the last times Laniyah's family saw her was on an otherwise ordinary morning. Her grandmother, Viola Spencer, later said, "I dropped her off right in the front door. When I left, she was walking up toward the building." There was nothing about that morning that seemed unusual. But years later, Viola still remembers watching her granddaughter walk toward school, and it became one of the last confirmed times a family member saw her. What happened next is harder to pin down. According to Ashley Whitted, Laniyah's aunt, Laniyah had been living with her before she disappeared. At the time, Ashley was out of town, and Laniyah had gone to stay with her mother and sister for a few days. Then, around Thanksgiving, Ashley said she learned that her niece was missing. And as the days passed, few details were made public about what might have happened. Years later, important questions still remain unanswered. For her family, the disappearance was especially difficult. Only months earlier, Laniyah's father had died. According to Ashley Whitted, he was her brother. The family was already grieving. Now, they were faced with another loss, one filled with uncertainty, one without answers. Ashley said, "It's critical for us because we have no trace." Years passed, but there were still parts of the story that had never been fully publicly explained. For investigators, the challenge remained. Yet the case remained open, and the questions never faded. Then, in the summer of 2026, investigators conducted a search along the Cape Fear River. On July 31st, 2026, investigators searched a section of Cape Fear River. Boats, drones, canine teams, and sonar equipment were used to search the area. Authorities said a tip and evidence led investigators to this location, but they did not publicly disclose what the evidence was. For her family, the search brought a mix of hope and uncertainty. But even as investigators searched, her grandmother, Viola Spencer, continued to hold on to one belief. She said that she does not believe Laniyah is in the river. She believes her granddaughter is still alive and that she is still waiting for her to come home. Laniyah's younger sister, Stevie, has said that when Laniyah first disappeared, she had trouble believing it. Now, Time has moved forward, and Stevie has reached the same age Laniyah was when she disappeared. Nearly 5 years after her disappearance, one question remains. Where is Laniyah? The search of the Cape Fear River brought new attention to the case, but it did not provide the answers her family has been seeking. For now, the investigation continues, and the people who love Laniyah continue to wait for answers. Our thoughts are with Laniyah Whitted's family, friends, and loved ones. If you have any information about the disappearance of Laniyah Whitted, please contact the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office. Contact information is listed in the show notes. As we close this episode, sharing Laniyah's story helps keep attention on her case and the questions that remain unanswered. For more cases and updates, follow Hunting for Answers. You can also connect with us through our Facebook group and find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And as always, if there's a story you believe deserves attention, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Until next time. Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network. For more podcasts from the Black Effect Podcast Network, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.